Hi friends, we are covering infrastructure as a code basics. The last video I have specified like we will apply the engineering practice and principle to the application code. So whatever the principle, whatever the engineering practice we apply to application code, we will apply the same thing to the infrastructure code. We mean that it is a standard way for the software engineers to design, write, test, review, maintain, and deploy the application code is that it should be reliable, maintainable, and secure and easy for teams to work with. So when the software developers, software engineering team, they design, write the code, test the code, review the code, maintain the code, and deploy the application code, it should be the application code should be reliable and it should be maintainable and it should be secure and easy for the team to work with. To ensure all these features characteristics for the application code, we implement engineering practices and principle for the application code. That means version control. One of the engineering practice or principle we apply is version control. So all the application code, all the infrastructure code should be stored in Git or GitHub in the version control systems. Because not a single person or a single team going to work on a code, application code. In application, there might be different modules developed by different teams. So all the modules, all this entire application code will be maintained as a GitHub repo and stored in Git or GitHub repos. For whenever there is a change made by the team member, software developers, we should track every changes made to the code. And this development team not going to make the changes directly on the main branch. So whenever they make some changes in the code, they always create a new branch for creating or modifying the code for features or fixes. Then they will test the features and fixes. If it is working fine, then they will merge this new branch into the main branch. In the version control system, so the software developers, they will merge the changes through the pull request. So it is one of the engineering practice we follow in corporates. So we have to keep the application code, infrastructure code in the GitHub or GitHub, GitHub. Each and every changes should be tracked. Whenever there is a change, the respective team member developer should create a new branch, make the changes for adding new features or fixing the issues, and then they will merge the new branch to the existing main branch by creating a pull request. So it is one of the engineering practice followed in the enterprises. Next is code reviews. Developers review each other's code before it is merged. For example, in a development team, there are 10 team members, each one is working on a different module. So whenever this developer want to make changes in the code, he will always create a new branch. He won't directly work on the main branch. He always create a new branch and then he will raise the PR, pull request to merge to the base main branch. The code reviewer will review the code and they have to approve it before it is merged. Once it approved by the team member seniors, then only the new branch will be merged with the main branch. This code review will help identify the bugs or security issues or poor design or maintainability problems. Usually this kind of code reviews will be done by the seniors. They used to check is there any bugs or security issue or the design is very poor or maintainability problem. So if there is any issues there, they will notify it. So the developer will go and resolve the issue and then he will inform the senior. The senior will again review it and then if everything looks fine, he will approve it. Then only the developer can merge the new branch into the main branch. So they will help to maintain the consistent coding standard across the team. We implement the coding review by using branch production rules. In GitHub, we create branch production rules. Every branch we can create a branch production rules. So we cannot, that will prevent directly making changes in the main branch. For every changes, the developers would create a separate new branch, make the changes, write the PR, and it should be reviewed and approved by the seniors. Then it will match to the base branch or main branch. These kind of rules will be implemented through branch production rules and then testing. This application code in the infrastructure code is tested at a different levels. It will be run the unit test individual functional or component, and then integration test. Verify that the multiple components work together, and then acceptance end-to-end test that verify that the application behaves correctly from the user's business perspective. So whenever the developer create the PR, pull request, it will run all the test. If the test is completed successfully, then only the seniors will review it and approve it. These things are covered in branch production rules. The fourth is code quality and linting. Linting means automatically check the code for any issues like formatting issue, syntax issue. That is called as a linting. So we use the linters and static analysis tools to identify coding problem automatically. Linting means automatically detect the issues in the code. So it will enforce formatting and coding standard and it will detect the potential bugs and code smells early. Nowadays in this enterprises, all this GitHub Copilot is enabled, so that will this GitHub Copilot will automatically review the code, review the pull request. It will review the quality. It will run the linting, that is automated testing, and it will make the suggestion. And we have to implement the suggestion, fix the bugs, resolve the issues. Then it will be tested and approved by the seniors. Then it will ready for the merge. This code quality and linting is performed by GitHub Copilot. And then continuous integration. Finally, the code is reviewed and approved, then it is merged then it will go for the CI/CD pipeline. CI pipeline. First, it will go to CI pipeline, that is continuous integration. It will automatically build and test the code whenever developers make changes. So whenever developer create a new branch, make changes and then create a PR, it will be reviewed and approved by the seniors in the team, and then it will be merged. Then it will be automatically build and test the code. This help detect problem before changes are merged or deployed. So this is the CI pipeline and then CD pipeline. The CD pipeline, continuous delivery or continuous deployment, it automates the process of packaging and deploying the application. The same application can be deployed consistently across the development stage, testing, staging, and prod environment. So the CI pipeline will automate the process of building, testing. The CD pipeline will deploy the resources, deploy the code to the prod test dev environment, and then documentation. So these are all the engineering practice and principle applied to the software development code or infrastructure code. The seventh is documentation. So document important aspect of the application such as how to build and run this, how component works, what are the API interface, how it is used, what is the configuration, what is the deployment process. The good documentation make it easier for the other developer to understand and maintain the system. Because this GitHub repo are managed by single person. It will be managed by team members, team of 12 people, 10, 20 people. So some people will resign, go, new people will join. The new people, how the new people will identify how this repos work, how to use this repo, they don't know. So we need to create a proper documentation through the readme.md file. Each and every repo consists of readme.md file that will describe how to build and run the repo, how the each component in the repo will work, and what are the API and interface used, what are the configuration, what is the deployment procedure for this GitHub repo. Next is security. All this GitHub repo, all this application code, infrastructure code should follow secure coding practices. And we should protect the credential and secret using the key vault. Or we can use user assigned manager entity or system assigned manager entity. And we have to validate the user input, scan the dependency for the known vulnerabilities, apply appropriate authentication and authorization. Security is one of the main component. And then maintainability. Write the code that is easy for understand, modify and extend. Avoid unnecessary complexity and duplication. Use meaningful names and appropriate abstractions. And then automation. Automate repetitive activities such as building, testing, packaging, security scanning, and deployment. So we have to automate certain process like building, testing, packaging, security scanning, and deployment. And automation reduces the human error and make process repeatable. So the engineering principles we will apply to the application code, we will apply to the infrastructure code or drive. We call it don't repeat yourself. So avoid unnecessary duplication. And then keep it simple. Prefer simple solution over the unnecessary complexity. So in GitHub Repo, in this software development code, software application code, or infrastructure code, everything will be defined in modules, pluggable modules. So it will make it a simple, keep it simple. Separation and Separation of concern. Keep different responsibility separate. Single responsibility. A component should have a clear and focused responsibility. Each and every module in the GitHub repo in the application code or infrastructure code should have a single responsibility. And then consistency. Follow the consistent pattern and standard across the code base. And then fail safely. Handle errors appropriately rather than allowing unexpected failures. Least privilege. Give users an application only the permission they needed. And then reproducibility. The same code and configuration should produce predictable result. So how we are going to apply this engineering principle and practices? That means in the application code we implement Git or GitHub version control. Infrastructure code also we will keep the infrastructure code, bicep modules, Terraform modules, ARM templates in GitHub repo. So we have to run the code review similar to application code, and we have to unit test, integration test, linting, security scanning, documentation, CI/CD pipeline setup, multiple environment, automation deployment, code quality standard. So whatever the best practices, whatever the engineering practices we follow for the application code, the same thing, same practice, engineering practice and principle will apply to the infrastructure code also. So the key idea is infrastructure definition become an engineering software artifact that can be versioned, reviewed, tested, validated, automated, and maintained just like the application code. So whatever the best practice we apply in the application code, similarly we apply to the same principle, same engineering best practices to the infrastructure code. So it should be versioned, multiple branches will maintain for multiple environment. It should be reviewed before merging to the base branch. It should be tested, validated, automated, and maintained just like an application code. We will meet in the next class.